G'day, my name is Bob Carrier. This is for my Give Send Go promotion here. My plan is to take this car here across Canada to promote trust in God, understanding, believing in answered prayers and miracles. This particular car is an example. The Lord gave it to me. Believe it or not, I did have the 1969 LeSabre. I got the 69 Wildcat convertible about 10 years later. And when that convertible was fini, kaput, no good, no more, I was about to move, and I says, I'm not taking this car with me, but I need it for parts, because I want an Electrolord, red with a white interior. You have to be specific sometimes when you ask something from God. And immediately, right away, somebody drove into the driveway and says, what are you going to do with that old Buick? And the Wildcat convertible. I says, I'm looking for the Electra, red with a white interior, and I'm going to fix it up, paint it up like a Canadian flag, and take it across Canada. And the man looks at me strange, and he says, you know what, there is such a car. And $450 later, I had this beauty. Took it for the safety, expecting it to be a disaster. The mechanic himself looked at it, and he says, I'm not looking at that for another week. He says, I'm too busy, that's going to be a disaster. But it turns out it's brand new. It didn't have 112,000 miles, it had 12,000 miles. It was owned by the Daytona Beach Rotary Club. So, Lord answered that prayer immediately. Of course, I said, Lord, it's a four-door. You can't put a convertible roof on a four-door. But you know, when the Lord gives you something, well, it's up to you to bring it to completion. It's a partnership. All miracles are partnerships. You work together. He doesn't do everything for you. You have to do some of it. A little bit about my life. I'll be as quick as I can so you understand where I come from. Born 9th of May 58. My grandfather died at the same time in the same hospital, and my parents left me about 6 months later. So I went through a really hard time. There was a nun, Sar Marie Guillaume, and she said that God gave a special angel to watch over me. Now, I figured God's the most important thing in the world. That didn't make sense, because I was pretty cursed. I mean, everything went wrong in my life. I seemed to be blamed for everything. And I was only 6 years old, but I says, the angel's the gift, and God's the giver. He says, God's the most important. So I started finding myself talking to God all the time as a kid. I had nobody else to talk to. And he started answering prayers. In particular, every birthday. Like I said, my grandfather died on my birthday. Well, every birthday from there on was a celebration. I had my first communion on my birthday, confirmation on my birthday. My parents got remarried, not to each other. I heard about it on my birthday anyways. There's always something happening, sort of thing. I'll skip ahead to my 25th birthday. I had prayed 9 months earlier for a child, and we had the baby, and by a series of coincidences, and this, Einstein says coincidence was just God's way of remaining anonymous. But anyways, I ended up in North Bay. We went from Ottawa to Toronto to North Bay, and we arrived in North Bay a week before the baby was born. They says, you don't have a family doctor, you can't have the baby at the new hospital, you have to go to the old one. It's still open a little bit, and they'll deliver the baby for you. And it wasn't until the nurse presented me with my baby girl and said, happy birthday, Daddy, that I realized it was my birthday. So she was born 25 years to the day on my birthday. So I believe in God answering miracles. As far as my life goes, well, I'm a Pentecostal minister of Canada. I graduated from that, and I've actually taken courses at the Vatican. Well, not quite at the Vatican. The Vatican paid for it, but it was in Rome, a few blocks from the Vatican. So a lot of strange things have happened in my life, and a lot of wonderful miracles, and it's been exciting for sure. So I plan on taking it across Canada, and I got a lot of stories. I've been up in the Arctic, almost had to walk back, and the Lord has stories to do about that one. I was serving the Northwest Passage. I had a fight with God when I was 16 to the death, and He provided a way where there was no way, and I survived that too. I didn't walk on water, but I did go snowmobiling with my buddy with this, and once went swimming with it, and in the very middle of the lake went through the ice, but found out there was something underneath, 4 feet down, and I was like standing on the rock in the middle of the lake, but it wasn't a rock. We found out later what it was, but so I can't say I walked on water, but I walked in it. So all sorts of strange stories, and it's not this goal isn't to stop at anywhere that invites me, do my talking, to promote miracles, to promote relationship with God, just talking to Him and so on. I'm not going to be preaching sin or anything like that. That's up to the local preacher to do. And if you have any donations, that's fine. If you can't afford it, but you want me to come, we'll find a venue or something, some way to do it. I'd like to stop in as many places as possible and make a real good show of it. So if you feel like donating, anything will count. I'll put a website for you to connect with me, no matter whether you can pay or not, doesn't matter. At least we can tell you where we're going to stop, if we're going to stop in your town, where, and for what location, and so on. So that we can personally invite you over there. So it's not about church, it's not about religion. It's about returning back to Christianity, to God Himself, to believing in miracles, the Book of Acts type of thing. It's not preached anymore in church, but I'll do what I can. So this is the car I'm going to be using. It still needs a carburetor, and I'd like a mechanic to look over it before we take off on the ride. I hope that explains everything to you. You'll be sending your emails to ecoshaw@yahoo.ca, and I hope this encourages you and that you're willing to part, even if it's $1. I don't care. I believe the Lord will provide. I'm a St. Francis kind of guy. I take off and worry about how I'm going to get there after. All right. God bless you, and hope to hear from all of you. Thanks.